guys, it's Lindsay. Welcome back to The Wandering Reader. Today is going to be another weekly reads video. This week I managed to read 2 books, so let's jump into what I read this week. The first book that I finished this week was Midnight at Tiffany's, and this is book 0.5 in the From Manhattan with Love series by Sarah Morgan. You guys know I've been slowly, or rather quickly, making my way through this series over the last... Well, I think I read the first one in August last year, and then I've been kind of reading them throughout the last few months or so. I had this one on my Kindle, and this is basically a prequel to the rest of the series, and it follows Matilda and Chase. And at the beginning of the book, Matilda is a waitress at a party that's being thrown for this big sort of hotshot. I think he owns some sort of construction company or something like that, sort of like $1 million construction company, like that sort of idea. And she is, she makes a massive mistake during this evening and drops a whole tray of champagne, and her boss basically fires her. Alongside that, Chase is at this party. He doesn't particularly want to be there. He makes some comments about the fact that whoever he speaks to is only interested in what they can get out of him and not really interested in the true him. And so he kind of sneaks his way out of the party after only having been there a little while. And Matilda and Chase meet in the lift on the way down from the party. They both pretend to be somebody else when they meet, and they spend the evening walking around Manhattan, and the story kind of goes from there. This is only a novella, so I think it was something like 140 pages. It was really, really short, and I was sort of questioning the whole way through how I felt about it being a novella, how I felt about it being so short, because obviously the two of them get together and it happens really, really quickly. By the end of it, I was convinced about the relationship and about the sort of timescale that it happened in. And I was sort of thinking to myself that actually, when you fall in love with somebody, when you know, and sometimes it can happen really, really quickly like that. And there's nothing necessarily wrong with that kind of way of doing things, as it were. So I did, again, really, really enjoyed this. I didn't enjoy it as much as the other novels in the series because of its length. I could have done with a full-length novel on the couple, really, and that would have been really nice. So in the end, I gave that one 3.5 stars, but still really, really enjoyable. I think when I downloaded it, it can't have been more than 99p on Kindle. So if you're interested in reading the whole of the series, then yeah, I would definitely check it out. The second book that I finished this week was on audio. It's a non-fiction book called Smoke Gets in Your Eyes by Caitlin Doherty. I think the subtitle is Lessons from the Crematorium. I talked about this in a few of my weekly reads videos, and I managed to wrap it up this week. So this is basically a non-fiction book all about Caitlin's experiences of working in a crematorium and you know, everything that goes along with that particular job. I really, really enjoyed this. It was so interesting to listen to. It's narrated, yeah, I'm pretty sure it's narrated by Caitlin herself. I'm pretty sure I remember them saying that at the end of the audiobook. And obviously I quite like listening to the author read from their own works, because I just think they put emphasis on the areas that they want to put emphasis on, and just listening to them talk about stuff, I just think it just adds so much more to the reading experience. So yeah, there were lots of things in here that made me think, you know, about, she talked a lot about being ready to die and recognising your own mortality and things like that. And that's not something that a lot of young people want to really think about. You know, I'm not really, really young, but I'm not really old either. And, you know, in my 30s, you know, do I really want to be thinking about my own mortality? But on the other hand, you know, we are all going to die at some sort of point. So thinking about, you know, how you want to leave the world and things like that is really, really important. So yeah, lots of really, really interesting things in here. I would definitely recommend it. Read it on audio if you've got the Audible app, or if you can get it from your library. I would definitely recommend that way of consuming it. And I would be interested in reading sort of more on this sort of topic. So I know there's a book called Being Mortal by, I want to say it's Atul Gawande, I think that's the author's name, that kind of deals with some similar kind of themes, and I am really interested in reading that now too. Yeah, so I think in the end I gave this one 4.5 stars. On to what I am currently reading. So the first one I'm reading is Normal People by Sally Rooney. This is a contemporary book, and it follows two characters called Connell and Marianne, and it's about the relationship between the two of them, set in Ireland, and yeah, Marianne and they're both in the last year of secondary school at the beginning of the book, and then we also follow them in university as well. I am, let's see, 96 pages into this book, so about a third of the way through. I'm still not really sure what to make of it, to be honest. I'm buddy reading this with Lisa from Books and Smiles, although this week has been a bit hectic and I haven't really had much of an opportunity to talk to her in as much detail as I would have liked, and she's a lot further on in the book than I am at the moment. It is really easy to read, and I was sort of thinking to myself, is this a book about what the word normal means? Is that kind of what we're getting at here? I don't really know, but I am enjoying it. Really easy reading, and yeah, I'm hoping to finish it off this week. And the second book that I'm currently reading is Holiday in the Hamptons by Sarah Morgan. This is book number 5 in the From Manhattan with Love series. This follows Fliss. She and her twin Harriet run a dog walking and dog sitting business in New York City, and Fliss is worried about running into her ex-husband Seth. He's been seen at the local vet's clinic that she takes all of the dogs to, and they haven't seen each other for 10 years. So instead of sort of like confronting it head on, she decides that she's going to escape, and her grandmother has recently had an accident. She lives in the Hamptons, and she needs somebody to take care of her for a few weeks, so Fliss decides that she's going to escape the city and go and live in the Hamptons with her grandmother for a few weeks, hopefully just to kind of get away from it all. What she doesn't realise is when she gets to the Hamptons, Seth is already there. He was only in New York as a favour for a couple of months or whatever, and he actually has his own vet practice in the Hamptons, so they run into each other again, and the story goes from there. So this is obviously going to be a second chance romance. I'm on page 110 of this so far. This has got a lot of sort of slow build lead up, in the sense that Fliss pretends to be her twin at the beginning of this book, so we're yet to unravel that particular sort of like twist of the story, as it were, or that particular aspect of the story. So we're not really into the romance yet or anything like that. But I'm sure I'll enjoy it nonetheless. Yeah, look forward to continuing on. And lastly, the audiobook that I'm currently listening to is Once by Morris Gleitzman. This is a children's book. It's the first book in the start of a series, actually. I think there are 4 books in this series. And we're following a character called Felix, and Felix is living in an orphanage at the beginning of the book. His parents left him at this orphanage 3.5 years ago or something like that, and said that they would come back for him. And his parents are booksellers, and they told him basically that they're going to go off and try to rescue some of the books back from various different people. It's set during the Second World War. And I think the orphanage that Felix goes to is in Poland. I think Felix is Polish. Yeah, he is Polish, but I think the orphanage is also in Poland. So I'm, you know, you can probably imagine the sorts of themes and topics that it covers. This is narrated by Morris Gleitzman himself, and he has a really pleasing way of narrating the story. It really gets across Felix's naivety and his innocence, and he's just got such a way with voicing characters. I'm really enjoying this so far. It's only a 4-hour audiobook, so I think I've got about an hour of this left, so obviously I'll finish that off next week. And my library actually has all 4 of the books, so over the course of the next few months I'm hoping to give those a listen, and just see how the series continues. But really enjoying this so far. I do actually have a copy of this up on my shelf. I can see it in my children's book section up there, but like I said, I saw it on the audio app from my library and I thought I'd give it a go. Yeah, and really enjoying it so far. So there you go guys, they are all of the books that I wanted to talk about today. I'd love to have a chat with you in the comments below. Have you read any of these? What did you think of them? Thanks very much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.